Yeah, let me start with UPDF. UPDF I think it's one of my favorite teams. And it's actually the team that I support. Like apart from the team I play for, it's the other team that I'll always support because it was my beginning. So UPDF has a special place in my heart, and starting from there really meant a lot to me because I spent 3 years there. I think it's the longest I've been in any team, and it really played a very instrumental role in my development as a player because I had a coach that believed in me, I had players that believed in me, and I had teammates that believed in me. So UPDF, my UPDF experience was probably the best from the past three. Then the oursavior experience, yes, it was a good experience, but then we lost focus somewhere. We lost focus somewhere. So I wouldn't rate it as one of my best because oursavior, I had to leave the team at some point in my second season because of personal reasons, and it wasn't really the best of experiences. Then JKL I think it was a turning point in my career because everyone needs to have that breakout season in their career where you get noticed, where you get a national team call up, where you dominate. And I think JKL provided that platform for me.
Okay, so Daniel Monaj Dudus was considered one of the best players in the league last year, just like the way you said it in JKL. Lots of teams, of course, wanted to sign you. I know City Oil, Power, Warriors. I know they are all interested in you, but you picked Namblazers. What influenced you to pick Namblazers out of all the teams in the league?
The Namblazers management approached me and they had a dream. They sold me that dream, and I was able to buy it because basically everyone brings their plan. They tell you this is what we want to do, this is what we want to do, and at the end of the day you have to sit down as an individual and pick the best plan. And I think Namongo Blazers had the best plan for me as a player and as an individual. So yeah, in Namongo we have an opportunity to start something special, and that's the reason I signed for Nam Blazers.
Okay, so Namblazers has just been promoted to the top flight, and usually the teams that move to NBL struggle for like relegation, like 3 seasons. The ones who survive keep on struggling for a long time because of different reasons. Uh, what are your plans with Namblazers this season? Like management plans, your plans?
Our plans, of course, everyone has their own plan. The management's initial plan, since it's a new team in the top division, the initial plan was to survive relegation. But then, as players, I think our target is to make the playoffs. Then, as an individual, I would like to go further than that, probably win a championship. So we all have targets at different levels. At a personal level, I would want to win a championship. At a team level, we'd want to make the playoffs. At the management level, they'd want us to survive relegation, and it would be amazing if we achieved all three.
So you're considered one of the best big men in the country, skill-wise, and of course, as a gentleman. Can you please talk briefly about the fundamentals of the post play? I know be practical if you like demonstrated, but just briefly talk about it.
I think as a big man, you need to put in a lot of work. It's not size. It's not just size. Like you don't just wake up one morning and be the best big man in the country. So the fundamentals I learned while starting out on the post, like they're basically four. I think the first one was positioning. Like you need to know your best spots on the post. You need to know your comfort zone. And whenever you're trying to position yourself, that's where you go. Like for me personally, I like the low block a lot. The players that like a high post. So you need to know your position, where you're best at. Then I think the second one is your moves. You have to have your moves. Like you have to have three moves that you can go to. You don't need to have a million moves. You need to have like three, and you have to perfect them. And when defenders learn your moves, you need to have a counter to each and every move. Like what happens when he knows that this is what you're going to do, you need to be able to counter that. So I think the second one is what? Moves. And the best move I would advise players to learn is the drop step, because the drop step is the most effective move. Then the third fundamental was patience. Patience involves faking. Like after your move, you need to be able to learn how to fake the ball. And a good post player needs to know when to fake, how to fake, when not to fake. So I think faking is one of the fundamentals of the post. Then I think the final thing, and I think it's the most important one, is finishing. Because it doesn't make sense when you do the first three and you don't make a basket. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, so those are the four fundamentals I can give anyone who wants to play at the post.
So you are blessed to play with one of the generals in Ugandan basketball. That's Henry Malinga. How influential was he towards the development of your basketball?
I think Henry Malinga is probably the best post player we've had in the country, and he has been an inspiration to me. Even before he started coaching me, but as a player, I'd watch him and I would want to be like him. So last year he played, because previously I'd never had an opportunity to work with him up close, but last year was sort of a turning point in my career, and he would advise me a lot, and I would say I was blessed to have a coach who understands your position, because most times we play and your coach really doesn't understand your position, because most coaches are guards. They were guards in their heydays. So to have a coach who was a post player, a coach who understands the basics of the post, it was a blessing to me.
Talk about the competition in the paint. Usually, I remember a game last season between JKL and City Oil. I think Oxy was marking your Kelo James, current MVP, playoffs MVP, and you guys seem to be fighting. And fans were like, "Are those guys fighting?" Talk about the competition in the paint between the big men.
I think two things you have to have as a post player. You have to be smart, then you have to be physical. Like you can't be a post player when you don't hit the gym, when you don't work on your strength, when you don't condition yourself. It doesn't make sense, because the level of physicality on the low block is too much. And I think to prosper at such a position, you need to be able to match any player's strength. And then if you guys let me say tie in terms of strength, you need to be smart. So if you don't have that too, you basically can't be a post player, a good post player.
Yeah, so apart from the 4 and 5 position, of course, those are the positions played by the big men. What other position would you play and why?
I think I would play point guard, because it's a smart position and I like thinking a lot. I think it would be a challenging position for me, but I think I would fancy myself as a point guard.
Okay. So last year you got a call up to the national team, like to train with the team. Of course, you just said JKL was one of the teams that changed your basketball career. How did you feel and how did it affect your basketball?
I think the national team call up came at the right time in my career. Came at that time when you're hitting your prime, you're not young enough and you're not old enough. You're just in the middle. So it came at the right time, and it came at a moment whereby I had a lot to learn. And the training sessions meant everything to me, because I couldn't take them for granted. I was playing with the best players in the country, best players in other continents, because some of them play abroad. Then the best coach, as in these opportunities you can't take for granted. And I was humbled by a call up, and I'm hoping for the next call up.
Okay, so in 2017, you were selected to participate on the 3-on-3 national team, and you guys traveled to Togo. Then, how was the competition amongst the teams compared to the Ugandan competition here?
I think that 3-on-3 game is a whole different ball game compared to the 5-on-5, and playing at that level, at the Africa Cup level, 3-on-3, it meant a lot to me. Previously, I'd obviously played at other international 3-on-3 tournaments, so it wasn't very hard for me to adjust. But then the difference between our game and theirs, I think we are more skilled than them. But then they have better structures than us. So for me, I think if we can improve our structures, then we can match them.
So talk about the training of the big men in different teams you've been to. Like I know most coaches, just like though you said earlier on, most coaches in their heydays were point guards, so they give like less time to the big men. So talk about the training by the coaches.
I think our training that big men go through needs to be improved greatly, especially in the off seasons, because in the off season you have a lot of time to work on your game, and I think in the off seasons coaches need to train players differently, train them according to their positions, because it doesn't make sense giving a big man guard drills in the off season. So I think the off season is an opportunity for coaches to work on work on their players differently, especially the big men. Because in Uganda we have I would say a shortage of big men, and that potential needs to be tapped in. We have lots of tall boys, we have lots of guys who are big in size, but then they can't play the post. So I think that's something we need to tap into, especially in the off seasons.
So who is that coach that has been very influential towards your basketball development? I know there's Mande Baker, there's Malinga Henry, there's Kadipu, there's Coach Kelly, there's Moses Okwera. Who is that coach and you who you went through and you were like, okay, this is the man?
I think I think it's my first coach, Baker Mande Chambadi. He has been an inspiration to me, and even when I left that team, he kept on advising me. He kept on talking to me. He kept on encouraging me to be a better player. So I think Baker takes it as my best coach.
So I'm going to go a little bit international, NBA wise. Do you have an NBA all-time five?
Most definitely. NBA top five. Point guard Magic Johnson. Shooting guard is a close one between Kobe and Jordan. But since I'm a Kobe guy, I'll take Kobe. Number 3 would be LeBron. Number 4 would be Hakeem the Dream. Number 5 would be Shaq.
Oh my God, nice team. Then that NBA player you look up to and you're like, this is the man.
I think currently I look up to 2 players, the Process and the Joker, Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic.
Okay. Then let's go local. NBL top 5.
NBL top 5, current or all time?
All time.
All time, definitely Jimmy would be my number 1. Number 2 and 3 would be Norman and Steve. Number 4 would be Okello James. Okay. Then number 5 would be Henry Malinga.
Or then that NBL all-time player who has really caught your eye.
Yeah.
No, I want your NBL all-time player.
That's my NBL all-time player.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it to Henry Malinga.
Henry Malinga. Then your toughest opponent on the basketball
court. My toughest opponent would be Big Mose of UPDF.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Then have you ever gone through that low time in your basketball career, your lowest time, like when playing basketball?
Yes. I think my lowest point of my career was last year's playoffs. Like I had too many expectations of myself, and I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. So I fell short, and it affected me.
Okay, then what are your plans for this season, just in case it happens?
I don't think it will happen again. I don't think what happened last year will happen again. So I expect our playoffs to be much better than they were last year.
Okay, so I want to ask you a personal question. How much did Namblazers pay you to join their team?
Confidential issues.
Confidential. Okay, like recently you acquired Geoffrey Soro. I think he had a contract in Rwanda, but because of the situation going on right now, he came back to Uganda. Do you think Geoffrey Soro is going to be a good teammate?
Most definitely. I think Sora is one of the players I looked up to while growing up as well. Because when I was in campus, he's a player who'd come to me and talk to me, advise me. So having the opportunity to play alongside him means everything to me.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Uganda basketball in general. Uh, in the past, I think Rwanda and Uganda were really dominant in East Africa, but all of a sudden, Kenya just came, and it's now Kenya's time. Why do you think that has happened so tremendously?
I think every team, rather every country has a period where they can dominate, and I think Kenya was just fortunate that it was their time, that the right players at the right time in the right place. So it was basically their time.
Okay, so we're going through a very tricky period in like players' basketball careers, or even can I talk about sportsmen in general? Like, how are you keeping fit?
I think every cloud has a silver lining. This difficult period is an opportunity for us to work on ourselves, be better individually. Like if you can't access a court, access a gym. If you can't access a gym, do push-ups at home, or run a hill, or do something. But but I wouldn't advise anyone to stay home and sleep and gain weight. So I think there's always something we can do to make ourselves better. If you can't work on yourself, on your body, then work on your mind. You can watch old games, old footage. There's a lot of footage out there. There's a lot to learn about the game.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us about your parental influence towards your basketball career.
Parental influence. My mother played a very huge role in my basketball career. Like basically, whenever I didn't have shoes, she was the person I'd contact. Whenever I didn't have anything, she's the person she's like whenever I didn't have transport, she was the person who would hit me up and send me some money. And I hope she's watching right now. So my mom is basically my inspiration. Uh, and yeah, I would want to make her proud one day.
Okay. So, what are your plans as a player? Of course, when your basketball career comes to an end, would you love to go into coaching?
I think I'm a person who loves the game. I'll forever be a student of the game. So even when I stop playing, I want to pass on knowledge, to share knowledge, because being a student means learning and teaching. So I would want to go into coaching after after the sunset.
Okay. So, are there any advantages you have achieved, like anything you've achieved from playing basketball during your current career?
Yes, there's a lot I've achieved. There's a lot I've achieved. Uh, in terms of in terms of in terms of connections, I've gotten lots of connections. Then also I've gotten a lot of exposure. I've gotten a lot of exposure. Then on the court, I got a few nominations for MVP, Player of the Month, what? And yeah, I think they've been influential in my life.
Okay. So, of course, we're living in a very dangerous period, the time of the pandemic, corona disease. I wish you would just look into the camera and try to talk to people about how to prevent and keep safe. I know, like people, your celebrity role model, people will listen to you and really understand what you're saying.
I think in these tough times, we need to stay fit, we need to stay safe, we need to stay home. But then we need to work out. We need to work out, we need to keep fit. Because it doesn't make sense when you survive Corona and you get diabetes. It doesn't make sense. So, as much as you're home, you have to keep working out and stay safe.
Yeah. Then, lastly, your role model. People look up to you. People want to be like you. You may be young, but you may never know how many people you're influencing there. I wish you would just look into the camera once again and inspire the young generation, and of course some of the old generation outside there who want to be like you.
I think one thing I would want to tell fans is, okay, fans and people that want to play the game of basketball is hard work. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. If you want to achieve anything in this life, you need to work hard. You need to work for it. So that's my advice to you guys.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel. I hope next time when we invite you on our call,
The pleasure is mine.
yeah, it's been an honor to have you here tonight. On to the viewers, thank you so much for being with us. That has been Daniel Monoja Dudus. It's been around the game, 2 p.m. Sunday. Please, before you log out, subscribe to Deep Ed Sports Media. I will see you again on Wednesday. Have a good night.